Welcome to Chatline. We have Roger Kiska with us. Welcome, Roger. You're in London. We're on the Isle of Wight, of all places. And we're going to talk about the BBC because there's been some strange events happening. And not the least was about 10 days ago now, they sneaked in with some addendums and pages of stuff if you were actually going to sign up for the iPlayer, which is very useful. Many people do this because they use catch-up television these days. But on page 64 or whatever it is, in very small type, you've got a situation whereby literally if you say or text following maybe a program, if it's not what they want, if they see it could be construed maybe as hate speech, even though it, what's the definition of that? Then they can report you to your employer, your school, the police. Have you come across this?
I have come across it, and I mean, it is indeed troubling. I think it's very disturbing when not a legislative body and not a court wants to define hate speech, because then it really is in the eye of the beholder. And it typically leads to viewpoint discrimination, which means that they will determine what is and what isn't appropriate speech. If it fits their narrative and views that they hold, then that's fine, no matter how outrageous it is. If it, for example, supports traditional marriage or life, it might be deemed as hateful simply because it portrays a Christian view that goes against the cultural zeitgeist. So it is a troubling disclaimer indeed.
Yeah, you've been travelling around Europe. Do you come across this around Europe, or is it just in the UK that we're in Orwellian times?
I think it's a phenomenon facing the West. So it's certainly not just the United Kingdom. We've seen it increasingly in the United States, but Spain has had a burst of litigation on this issue. Yeah. Germany has quite a weak law on hate speech. So we do see it pervading our freedom of speech throughout Europe. I think the UK is a little further advanced down that road, which is regrettable. And we see it in the political and the moral discourse of the day. So I do think that your viewers should be aware of it, but they should stand up against it and realize that legally they continue to enjoy freedom of expression and a quite robust version of it.
Why are we further down the road in UK? Is this because we're close to America in many ways and they start it all off?
No, I think in many ways we're further down the line than America or any other nation, unfortunately. I think the success of certain NGOs, those being with the gay agenda, the humanist agenda, they've just been incredibly successful in censoring speech, in creating an atmosphere where speaking up for the Christian worldview has been deemed as hateful and not worthy of respect in a democratic society. Yeah. And that's simply wrong. Christians enjoy the same rights as everyone else. And there's a difference between what NGOs claim and what might be said in the media and what the law actually says. So the law still has a pretty robust protection of freedom of expression. But here at Christian Concern, we recently were involved in the Mike Overd speech case where a magistrate's court found him guilty of speech, and that is an outlier. That is a very dangerous case and a very dangerous precedent, and we're confident it'll be overturned on appeal. But traditionally, Christians have enjoyed, under the law, a very robust protection for speech, and as far as we're concerned, we will fight to keep it that way.
Yeah. Does it literally depend on which judges allocated the case? Are you finding this?
Well, it absolutely shouldn't depend on that, because that would suggest that the rule of law is not being applied. But yeah, of course, it's human nature for judges to rule sometimes in accordance with their opinion, and we have filed grievances to that extent where prejudice has been manifested in the court. But the Parliament has had its say on this. Speech must be protected, and Christians, as I've said several times now, enjoy the same right to speech as everyone else, and we should enjoy that.
Yeah. The BBC has come in the firing line over many issues, of course. Their question time has come in the firing line. Who picks the audience? It seems to be left wing and young. And is this something that you picked up on?
Well, I think I can only speak as a lawyer on legal aspects with regards to broadcasting standards and objectivity. I think studies have been done to show that fairly universally it has tilted quite left of the spectrum. So I think those studies are out there, and your viewers can identify those themselves. Well, what is more troubling to me is that they are creating a legal situation through disclaimers like they put on this app, which are infringing on our rights to freedom of expression. It is a very sad day when a corporation as big as the BBC is threatening that type of action simply for stating our opinion on a matter. Why have the platform at all if we can't
No.
our opinion?
Right. I mean, you yourself are called on for your opinions 2 or 3 times a week on television, radio. Do you find any difference when you appear, for instance, on Sky News to appearing on the BBC? Are you treated in any different way?
Well, again, I think that really depends on the moderator, the person asking the questions. I have appeared on the BBC and on TV and radio, and sometimes it's hostile, sometimes it's not hostile. I've experienced that in other venues as well, with Sky News and Channel 5, and it really depends on the issue and the person doing the interview.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Roger.
My pleasure.